Hello, people of God. How have you been? This is my Jacob's Way TV, and I'm Dupi Dupi Singer. This is episode 94. Episode 94. I know everybody has been waiting for this episode because it's going to talk about how Timothy eventually died. Remember that Uche had called Timothy's brother, and he had also called Timothy's daddy, and they had both asked at different directions. Timothy's brother was in Kano and the father was in Delta State. The first thing they asked is he dead? With this tone of, well, we will be glad to have him gone so that he will stop bringing shame to us. And Uche held the fort in faith, refusing, saying, why are you thinking that Timo is going to die? Timo is not going to die. In Jesus' name, and I was listening to him. It was good we had their contact. And then all through that day, Uche sat down with me. He was very sober. He was asking me very deep questions. That he had gone to see Timothy in the hospital and they had asked him to go and come back in the evening when it would be visiting time. I did not plan to go to the hospital because the way Uche had described Timothy, I wouldn't even have loved to see him in that position. Before I continue, I had mentioned in episode 93 that before this time, something had happened. I had gone home to bury my own father. It was a sad thing, I mean, but joyous thing to me. You know, that mixed feeling of your father is gone, but we are also grateful to God that he had lived his own life and fulfilled life and he was called to glory. And my boys were ready to come with me. They were ready to be like security guards and all that. But I knew that they would give me some kind of excesses that I might not be able to handle. But before then, they had misbehaved. They had done something terrible. And my own punishment for them was, no, you are not coming with me to Ibadan. Well, these are people that you could, I mean, punishments will actually not pain. It will not, don't, it wouldn't mean anything to them when you say, because of this, you cannot do this. They are people of the streets. But somehow they will have wanted to come with me for that burial. And I said no. And I returned from burying my father. And I had a phone call from the security guard that was on ground, the one that the man who came to own the land had put on ground. Remember, the man that I had begged to allow them to stay with him, you know, so that it can also be like um, com- be companionship to him. His name is Ernest. Incidentally, he is a Togolese. I've not heard from him in a long, long time. He called me and he said to me, Madam, do you know what happened to me? I said, no. He said, while you were gone, Timothy knocked my head. Timothy knocked my head. I cannot remember exactly what happened according to him, but the story made me very upset. And I said to him, don't worry, I will handle it when I come. When I came, I called all the boys together because the guy was like our landlord. If he got angry with us and threw us out, there would have been nowhere to keep them. So I asked for what happened, and they all told me a story that didn't sound good enough for a man to have knocked another person's head. So I looked at Timothy and I said to him, Timothy, because you think you have might and because you think you have this followership behind you, and you think you are fearless, you can knock somebody's head, you can knock somebody on his head. The man The man's head was swollen and he had to be taken to the hospital. I had to pay a huge sum of money for the man to be well treated. I said, do you know that God can organize for somebody to knock your own head? You think there's no God anywhere that can always fight the battle of his people? We are God's people. Why will you just do that to a man and you think that is the end? And I said to him, see, all my mother's children in the Lord came to bury her. All my mother's children in the Lord. I said, my mother's first son in the Lord, Professor Tony Nevery, was there and he held forth. I said, Timothy, you are my first son in the Lord. Is this what you are going to do when I die? When you want to bury me, it's going to be all violence and trouble. You'll be knocking on people's head. He apologized, but I felt so disappointed. I said, in the first instance, you were supposed to have followed me to bury my dad, but because you misbehaved, I didn't allow you to go. And then I came back with this complaint on ground. I said to him, do you know that God can organize for somebody to break your own head? I don't think I understood what I said. And I don't think he understood what I said. And I don't think all the people that were there understood what I said. But he finally told me in secret that it was Uche that pushed him to do what he did to that man. It was Uche that said, are you no more boss? Are you no more the Eje that we know? Are you no more blood? How can somebody do that to you and walk away like that? It was Uche that pushed him to knock on the man's head. Let me come back to Timothy's story. Remember, I saw Timothy go off to buy detergent. I already told you how he fought with the Malam. I told you how the police was called in. I told you how he ended up in the hospital and how Uche called his brother and his father. It was 5 p.m. that day. It was a Tuesday. I drove back home. And again, I sat in front of the TV eating my dinner when Uche called me and he said, Mommy, kept saying, Mommy, Mommy, Mommy. And I asked him, what is wrong? He asked me, Mommy, what is today's date? And I said to him, Uche, you have come again with your trouble. Why are you asking me today's date? What is the relevance of that? This is like 8 p.m. He said, oh, Mommy, I'm going to kill so many people. I said, Uche, what is the problem? He started crying. I never saw Uche cry. He was a man, a real man. What is wrong, Uche? He said, Mommy, Uche, don't go. Uche, don't go. I said, what? He said, Mommy, you heard me. I said, what do you mean by Uche, don't go? He said, Timo, don't die. Timo, don't die. Hmm. He said by the time he got there, Timothy had passed. His head was swollen beyond recognition. If it isn't him that knew him, he would have said maybe it was not Timothy that was shown to him. I must confess to you, children of God, that in all of these things, I never thought about death. I just felt that Timothy was going to go to the hospital and come back and he will have learned his lesson. I never thought about death. I wasn't prepared for it. Of course, the dinner I was eating that night just went bad in my mouth and I couldn't continue eating and I could not sleep all night. Hmm. The trouble I saw, the agony that I went through, you will have thought that I birthed Timothy myself. I never, I never dreamed of the possibility of death. Somehow behind my mind, it was like he will learn his lesson and he will stop all this violence. Then somehow in the middle of the night or very early in the morning, in my insomnia, inability to sleep, I remembered what happened earlier. And I remember that I said, do you know that God can organize for somebody to break your own head? Hmm, hmm. Did I feel bad? Did I feel guilty? Did that word have an impact on Timothy? By the next episode, I'll tell you some of the things that we should be careful about, including me. I don't want to preempt it, but thank you for listening. We finally knew how Timothy died, but there are so many other stories that are attached to Timothy's death. It is becoming more interesting. This is my Jacob's Faith TV, and I'm Dupi Dupi Singer. Thank you for watching. Thank you for every other thing. God bless you. Bye bye.